So this is my next video in my Vegas goodies. And this particular video is going to be a whole bunch of stuff that I kept while I was there in Vegas to use in different things. So it's going to be all over the place. It's not going to be any real system to it. I'm just going to show you stuff. One of the last things that I acquired that I can use in my journal book is my TSA Baggage Inspection. I had a catalog and a program guide from the show we went to in there, and they were stacked together in such a way that probably created a nice big black square. So they needed to dig that out and look at it. And it was funny because it was in the bottom of my bag, and all my stuff was exactly the way I put it in there, except for that particular bag being pulled out for them to look at. So interesting on that, but because they were in your things, they leave you a note, which I really appreciate, because you're going to notice your stuff isn't the same way you put it in there. So that's going in my journal. And then let's see. I found this at some shop. I think this was at the Desert Art Supply. And this is going to go in my mass book, I believe. There's some neat colors on there. I might use the color parts in something else. I think I might trim the script off and use in something, and then I can use the paint tube on my paint tubes page, probably. We'll see. Of course, you've got to get every goodie guide you can find. This was for downtown Vegas, which I did manage to get to. This is from Treasure Island. It was our placemats. We stopped there for a quick snack before the show. On Friday, I think it was, Cindy and I went to the Cosmopolitan. That's an amazing place. You should go there if you can. They had a coffee shop in there called, I don't know how to say it, but there it is. And they had these napkins that are more like cloth. So we grabbed a handful of those each to use in maybe something. Part of it's going to go in my journaling book, but some will be used in projects, of course. And then one of the other places we hit up was M&M World. Got some M&Ms for the family, and I got a nice little gift bag. And of course, you got to keep your receipts from everything, so you can have those in your scrapping and your journaling. We went to lunch at the Hard Rock Cafe, and this was in my drink. I had a smoothie kind of thing, and they had this little one jammed in a piece of pineapple, and then that was in the tall glass. And Cindy thought those were awesome and asked, because she didn't get one of these, so she asked for it, and they brought it on over. They're really nice about giving you goodies to have. You know, if you want a spare coaster, or, you know, hey, can I have one of your placemats? They bring it on over. They're happy to give you a handful of them. Here's my Hard Rock Cafe shopping bag that they gave me. And they gave me that because my drink came with a collector's glass, so I've got this nice box, of course. See if I can get this dang thing out of here. On my last flight, they had to take my bag that I've been carrying on the plane and put it underneath because the plane was smaller. And I watched them pull the bag off the rolly machine that puts it up in the plane. Then I heard all this thunking in the plane, and I was so paranoid that they broke this, but they did not. So it's nice glass, and it says Hard Rock Hurricane Las Vegas. And I had a smoothie in that, and it was just fruit and, you know, ice and stuff. No alcohol. I wasn't into drinking any beverages at that time of the day, other than a nice refreshing smoothie. And we did get to have a drink card. This one was actually out of Biloxi, which is where my brother was born, so that was pretty cool. We went to Carlo's Bakery, and Gina's done a journaling book or something with one of these, so we all kept our bake shop boxes. I think that was one of Gina's, and then I ended up, this was my little one, or maybe this was Gina's little one, and that was my big one. But either way, I've got a couple of bake shop boxes to use for something fun. We had some food at the Rio after we got our tattoos. And I'll show you a picture of that in a different video. These came in our sandwiches, I think it was. and we asked the gentleman if we could have some extras, and he came back with a fistful. So we all have a bunch of these to use in whatever fun projects that we want. Just having to dig here in my bag. Another thing we ended up with is Carlos has wooden drink stirrers for your coffee. So make sure to grab a few of those if you want to have something like that in your project. And there's gobs and gobs and gobs and gobs of pamphlets you can pick up with maps and information about places you want to visit. And I just went through them while I was there, and I tore out pages that were relevant to things I thought I would want to have. And then even on some of the pages, I just cut out the parts that I wanted, because I didn't see the point of dragging the whole entire book back if I only needed a couple of pages. And that way I wasn't adding extra weight. Here's that little pamphlet that goes with that black notebook I showed in a previous video. See how they had doodled on the cover with the metallic pens? So when you're there, grab pamphlets that you think are relevant to you, and if you don't think you're going to need the whole thing, because a lot of the back of it is just telling you where to find a restaurant and how much it costs. If you're not going to those places, why haul that around in your bag? Use your bag for all of your art supplies or whatever that you might need. At one point we had to get some extra toilet paper for our hotel, and it was all wrapped up in this piece of paper, so of course I kept that because it looked fun. Here's one of my free things to do that I think I showed in a previous video, and I was using that to figure out how to get around and check stuff off. Had a bagel at the airport for breakfast one day, so we kept that. Let's see. I stopped at the USO in Houston, Texas for a layover. You can only use those if you are military family. That was a nice little stop. There's my receipt for my bagel. Then, of course, I was running around everywhere getting penny smashed. And I have my penny smashing list here and my map that we were going off of, which this actually helped us out quite a few times because we had to find a Walgreens at one point because of my broken tailbone problem. And this actually has Walgreens listed on it. So that helped us figure some stuff out, and we got ourselves around looking for that. And of course, keep your boarding pass stuff, because that's always fun. And this was breakfast at the Golden Nugget. Had a Starbucks, so I kept that. A couple of the places we went to had like Keno things that you could play along with, and they had all these fun little papers at your table. And a couple different types of paper. Grabbed a handful of those. Actually, Gina did. So we got some fun. This came from one of the art shops, and those colors were really interesting. You're going to get snacks on the plane, and this was one of the ones I had on one of my last flights. This is pretty good. If you ever have this on the flight, that's pretty tasty. All of your baggage, of course, is going to have stickers and barcodes and things that you can keep. And if you are lucky, your airline might even still give out fun little wings. So I got one of those from United. And while you're wandering around all the fancy hotels, they like to try and shove, another stir, samples in your face. And if you're with friends, of course, you need to have one for everybody. So we kept getting these little silly samples for lotion. Some of them came in little fun bags. These people were kind of cheap. They took all the samples and put them in one bag and gave us 4 samples. Restaurant we ate out one night had bread in these paper pouches, so of course I had to keep that. Had to get the Starbucks liner things. That's about it. They're in there. I got a little something in there that Gina gave me, which I'll show in a minute. So there's those goodies. When we came out of the Cosmopolitan and we're waiting for our ride, they have one of the nicest valet waiting sections, by the way. And they had these silly little keychains. A little rabbit with a cigar, I'm guessing. So cute. Cute and odd and fun. And it actually says the Cosmopolitan on it, so it's a hotel souvenir along with being something kind of cute. So keep your eye open for little freebies like that. And because Shannon told me all about it, and the Cosmopolitan having these art vending things, I got one of these little art blocks out of a vending machine kind of deal. They look like cigarette machines, and you put your money in and it spits out a block. We found 3 different machines, but I will say most of them are almost empty. The art display, P3 Studios, I think it was called, that went away last year in like November or October, something like that. So we weren't able to see that, but they still had quite a lot of art all over the hotel. So we roamed around and looked at those, and that was still enjoyable. Had a good time. But these are almost empty, these little machines. I got some chocolates for my son that were shaped like poker chips, and I asked him to give me one of the wrappers. And then of course there's a lot of these little books that you can get your hands on. And then let's see, I have different receipts are in here from some of my food I ate. And that's about it for all my little ephemera bits that I decided to keep from that are not already in my book. I'll show the rest of those in another video. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing some of these fun things that you can collect if you're out in Vegas wandering around. If you're not already a subscriber, you can hit that button down below. Feel free to like and give a comment if you want. Hope you're having a great day. Bye!